Good evening. Good evening. My name is Klaus Biesenbach. I'm the director of the Neue Nationalgalerie, and I'm really honored that you're all here tonight. I wish I had a camera and photograph you. This is very beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for all being here. I'm very grateful and excited to welcome Nan Goldin and Frederick Leaf tonight here to the museum for the opening of the very important retrospective of Nan Goldin's multi-decade career for the international tour conceived with Hala Varde and Frederick Leaf. Both are here. Hala, you are here. Very honored you're here, and Frederick is going to speak. I'm especially honored that Frederick and Nan will speak tonight. As you might have heard, we decided to disagree. We decided to agree to disagree. You see, that was a Freudian. I treasure the freedom of expression here and now in Berlin in 2024. To allow the National Gallery to be such a place that we can do that. So that sounds weird, but I mean it. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Frederick. Oh, Frederick, you're here. Sorry, hold on. Here's the microphone.
Thank you very much, Klaus, for that introduction, and wow, thank you everyone for showing up in such numbers to celebrate Nan Goldin and this exhibition this evening with us. I have been fortunate enough to work together with Nan for about 4 years now. Our collaboration started as I reached out to Nan to ask her if she was interested in starting work for a new retrospective exhibition spanning her entire life's practice, focusing particularly on her as a multimedia artist and as a storyteller. Because I consider Nan Goldin to be one of the greatest storytellers of our times. With her profound exploration of identity, intimacy, community, and social issues, she, like the history's greatest storytellers, has that special ability, that sensitivity of being able to talk to us of what it is to be alive today. Nan speaks to us from a very private experience, from a lived experience, but her art is not necessarily about her. It's about the foundations of themes, such as empathy, love, pain, suffering, friendship, joy, and solidarity. Complex human experiences now that we all share, everyone, all of us here tonight. It turned out that Nan was not only interested in this proposition, but that she had been actively waiting for this possibility, waiting for this invitation to do this. And she said to me, Frederick, you know what, I never even wanted to become a photographer. Never intended for it to be like that. I always and ever wanted to be a filmmaker. So, what we have made for you, that we open for you today, is a retrospective exhibition with thousands of Nan's images, from the mid-1970s up until present day, where we emphasize that ambition. The show is mediated through a selection of 6 slideshows that has been created by the artist during her career from 1981 to 2019. These visual stories
that Nan has made, these films made out of stills and moving images, right? They've been re-edited by the artist for this project and is presented in a beautiful custom-made architecture. A neighborhood here in the Neue Nationalgalerie made by the architect Hala Vardé. What you will see when you enter this neighborhood is that Nan Goldin, she has spent her life fighting stigma, taboo, and challenging societal norms around patriarchy, AIDS, addiction, love, suicide, and mental health, just to mention a few. It is an exhibition about life, and it is particularly an exhibition about life together with other people. And as such, I don't think that this exhibition could be presented in a better space than the Neue Nationalgalerie. When I move around inside the exhibition, I don't even have the sense that the show is taking place in a museum. I feel that the show spatially is being taken place in the city, that we're like in a public square, where our buildings and Nan's explorations of social words are in active dialogue with all of us and with the city of Berlin. And this city, Berlin, has also a very special relationship with Nan Goldin. It was the first European city where she showed the Ballad of Sexual Dependency in the early 1980s. In the Arsenale Cinema here in Berlin. And please note here that in relation to this exhibition, she didn't show her work in an art gallery. She didn't show her work in a Kunsthalle. She didn't show her work in a museum. She showed her work for the first time on European soil in a cinema. Before I finish and hand over to Nan, I would like to take a moment to also express my gratitude, because this project is not a project that one person or a few people do. It's depending on a lot of people's hard commitments. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude again to Hala Vardé and to Mark Davis for creating this wonderful structure and architecture. Please, big hand. Also, all you wonderful people of Nan Goldin's studio. Francis, Maya, everyone, you know who you are. Alex, thank you so, so much. This is also a collaborative project on so many levels. It's an institutional collaboration. The show started in Stockholm in Moderna Museet, and I want to thank my boss, the director of Moderna Museet, Gitte Örsko, who's here tonight. We also have the future venues of this touring exhibition here, Hangar Bicocca with Roberta Tenconi and Lucio Aspesi, and Didier Fusilier and Barbara Croer of the Grand Palais in Paris. Thank you for sharing this journey with us, and also thank you to Stedelijk Gallery in Amsterdam for hosting the show previous to this. Thank you very much. And of course, Klaus Biesenbach and the whole team here in the National Gallery, who have worked so incredibly hard to make this exhibition here and making this possible. You're far too many to mention by name, but you know all of you who you are. Thank you very much for doing this together with us. Thank you. Now, all of us, we would of course be completely useless if it wasn't for the art and for the artist. So Nan, thank you ever so much for your commitment to this project and for this exhibition. It's a joy pleasure to work together with you. And everyone, please help me welcome Nan Goldin with a big applause.
Hello, Berlin. I'm starting with a period of silence in honor of the dead. Please put your phones away and join me. Thank you. The 4 minutes you spent standing in silence represents 1/100th of a second for each of the 44,757 people killed in Palestine by Israeli forces, half of them children, 10,000 of them buried under the rubble, and the 3,516 people killed in Lebanon by Israeli forces, and the 815 Israeli civilians killed on October 7th. Were you uncomfortable? I hope so. We need to feel uncomfortable, to feel our bodies under siege, even for a minute. Those are the official numbers. However, there is other reporting that the direct and indirect deaths from this war is closer to 186,000. Why did I feel I have to talk tonight? This is my lifetime retrospective, but there is nothing in it from the past year, and that's missing. The museum has kept its promise to allow me to talk, and I thank them. But they claim that my activism and my art are separate, even though that has never been the case. The last year has been Palestine and Lebanon for me. Since October 7th, I've found it hard to breathe. I feel the catastrophe in my body, but it's not in this show. Why am I talking to you, Germany? Because tongues have been tied, gagged by the government, the police, and the cultural crackdown. This is a city that we used to consider a refuge. Now over 180 artists, writers, and teachers have been canceled since October 7th, some for something as banal as a like on Instagram. Many of them Palestinian, 20% of them Jews. Why am I talking here? I decided to use this exhibition as a platform to amplify my position of moral outrage at the genocide in Gaza and Lebanon. I saw my show as a test case. If an artist in my position is allowed to express their political stance without being canceled, I hope I'm paving a path for other artists to speak out without being censored. I hope that's the result. Why can't I speak Germany? Criticism of Israel has been conflated with anti-Semitism. Anti-Zionism has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. This is a false equivalency used to maintain the occupation of Palestine and to suppress those who speak out. The word anti-Semitism has been weaponized. It's lost its meaning. In declaring all criticism against Israel as anti-Semitic, it makes it harder to define and stop violent hatred against Jews.
100%!
We are less safe. Is that all, Germany? Meanwhile, Islamophobia is being ignored. The government's weaponization of anti-Semitism is being aimed at the Palestinian community in this country and those who speak out in support for them. Germany is home of the largest Palestinian diaspora in Europe, yet protests are met with police dogs, deportations, and stigmatization. Are you listening, Germany? Yesterday, the highest criminal court in the world, the ICC, officially issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant for war crimes of starvation as a method of warfare. for crimes against humanity, for the widespread and systematic attack of the civilian population of Gaza. The ICC is talking about genocide. The UN is talking about genocide. Even the Pope is talking about genocide. Yet, we're not supposed to call it a genocide. Are you afraid to hear this, Germany? This is a war against children. Children are directly targeted, shot in the head. On average, a child is killed in Gaza every 10 minutes. They're intentionally destroying the next generation. The children who lose their entire families are asking to die. What have you learned, Germany?
Nothing.
My grandparents escaped pogroms in Russia. I was brought up knowing about the Nazi Holocaust. What I see in Gaza reminds me of the pogroms that my grandparents escaped. Never again means never again for everyone.
Israel defines itself as the eternal victim, which means it can never be blamed, and so is incapable of victimizing others. Why can't you hear this, Germany? There has been a genocide unfolding on our phones for the last 14 months in real time. The first genocide that's ever been live-streamed. The heroic journalists are risking their lives to send us daily dispatches, even as they are targeted by bombs and drones. 137 journalists have been targeted and killed since October 7th, mostly Palestinian. Israel doesn't want a record left. What don't you see, Germany? We cannot look away. Can you imagine if it was possible to watch the war in Vietnam, the ethnic cleansing in Bosnia, or even the Holocaust live-streamed on your phone? Would we have turned away? Even if we are incapable to change what is going on, we need to bear witness, and we need to amplify the voices of the Palestinians. But there is still an opportunity for the world to step in and stop this horror. Why are you afraid to hear this, Germany? There's a total eradication of the conditions for life of an entire population. The Israeli generals have made their intentions clear: to mow the lawns. This is clearly ethnic cleansing. It was a land grab from the beginning. Most people have been displaced multiple times, and now they are selling waterfront real estate on Palestinian land at synagogues in the U.S. The loss of civilian life has been intentional. If there was a terrorist in the tunnels of the New York subway system, would they drop a 2,000-pound bomb on the entire subway? Why can't you see this, Germany? It's a domicide as well. 88% of homes have been destroyed in Gaza. Almost every Palestinian has been forcibly displaced. The entire infrastructure of Palestine has been destroyed. The hospitals, the schools, the universities, the libraries. It's also a cultural genocide. Why can't you see this, Germany? In a country like Israel, where everyone is a soldier, extreme violence has become accepted. Cruelty and cynicism have become the norm. There are thousands of hours of TikTok videos of soldiers committing war crimes. They prosecute themselves, smashing up homes, dressing up in women's lingerie, celebrating burning villages. bragging of killing children. I'm talking to you, America. This slaughter would stop if the U.S. stopped arming Israel. The U.S. has spent $22 billion on military aid to Israel. 69% of the weapons being used in this slaughter
are U.S. made, and 30% come from Germany.
Shame on you! Shame!
I will not stop talking to you, America. This is not just an Israeli war, it's also an American war. Corporations are profiting wildly. Their stocks have skyrocketed as the U.S. vetoes cease resolutions over and over. Why am I talking? Because advocating for human rights cannot be anti-Semitic. Because I use words people here feel endangered to say. Because Israel and Germany use the Holocaust and memory culture to manufacture innocence. Because social media is shutting down pro-Palestinian voices. Because of the intentional starvation of an entire population. Because of the occupation of 75 years that has to be ended. Because Lebanon is beginning to look like Gaza. What do we need to do? Millions of people around the world are screaming for a ceasefire, for an arms embargo, but their governments are not listening. We need to demand an arms embargo. Meanwhile, it's time to stop policing our allies. If we're on the same side, we should support each other, even if we have different methods. Our grief and our anger need to be channeled into action. The most important thing is to take to the streets. The more of us there are, the more of us there are.
As I mentioned before, am I also allowed to speak? As I mentioned in my introduction earlier, I disagree with your opinion, Nan. Still, I stand for your right to express yourself tonight. I hope I'm also allowed to express myself tonight. The primary mission of the Neue Nationalgalerie is to share extraordinary and important art with the public. We, as a museum in Berlin, consider it our responsibility and role to offer space for debate for urgent issues that are often left unspoken. Our work is grounded in essential values and are non-negotiable. Israel's right to exist beyond question for us. The Hamas attack on the Jewish state on October 7, 2023 was a cruel act of terror that cannot be justified by anything. This also applies to the abduction of innocent people. We insist on the release of the remaining hostages. When Jews are threatened or persecuted simply because they're Jewish, we show our solidarity. At the same time, we emphasize with civilians in the Gaza Strip and Lebanon, whose suffering cannot be overlooked. All people in the Middle East have the right to live without fear and with the assurance of their safety. We advocate for a peaceful solution for the Middle East. As a museum, we are deeply committed for freedom of art and freedom of expression, even in cases we disagree with that opinion. Equally important is our commitment to the dignity of every human individual. Why are you not listening to me? Which requires a strong opposition to any kind of anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, racism, and all other forms of hatred, bigotry, and violence. We have a unique historical responsibility here in Berlin and in Germany. We do believe that these commitments go hand in hand and need to apply equally to everyone. This is why we reject the logic of cultural boycott as in the case in the campaign of the BDS. We not allow calls for incitement to violence, the legitimization of acts of terrorism, the injury and killing of civilians or support of terrorist organizations. Neue Nationalgalerie is a space where freedom of expression and respectful exchange are possible. We are grateful that art and art spaces can still allow diverging perspectives to coexist in an increasingly polarized world. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being here tonight.
Haven't cried so much.
Fuck you, Israel! Fuck you, Israel! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets!